I'm standing in my childhood bedroom right now, looking at the walls I painted pink when I was 7 years old. The same walls I stared at every night for 18 years. The same walls that watched me grow from a child into someone I never wanted to become. My name is Claire, and I'm 47 years old. For the first time in my life, I'm trying to figure out who I actually am. Not who my family needed me to be, not who I sacrificed myself to become. Just me. Claire. Whoever that is. This story isn't easy to tell, but I need to tell it. Maybe for myself. Maybe for anyone else out there who gave up everything for their family and is just now realizing it might have been for nothing. I was born in 1977 in a small town in Ohio. Middle-class family. My father worked in manufacturing. My mother was a secretary. Nothing special, nothing terrible, just normal, you know? I was the oldest of 3 kids. My brother Marcus came 2 years after me, and my sister Lauren 4 years after that. Growing up, I was the responsible one. That's what everyone always said. Claire is so responsible. Claire is so mature for her age. Claire is such a good helper. I heard it so much, I started to believe that's who I was supposed to be. The helper. The responsible one. The good daughter. When I was 12 years old, everything changed. It was a Tuesday in March. I remember because it was my brother's 10th birthday. We were supposed to have cake after dinner. My father came home from work early, which was unusual. He walked into the kitchen where my mother was cooking, and they went into their bedroom. I could hear them talking. Then my mother started crying. Loud, ugly crying that made my stomach hurt. 20 minutes later, my father walked out with a suitcase. He looked at me standing in the hallway. I was frozen, not understanding what was happening. He put his hand on my head, like he used to do when I was little, and he said, "Take care of your mother, Claire. You're the oldest. It's your job now." Then he left, just like that. Walked out the door and didn't come back. My mother stayed in her bedroom for 3 days. She didn't eat, barely drank water, just cried. I didn't know what to do. I was 12, but Marcus and Lauren needed to eat, so I made them sandwiches. They needed to go to school, so I made sure they got on the bus. They were scared, so I told them everything would be okay, even though I had no idea if that was true. On the 4th day, my mother came out of her room. Her eyes were red and swollen. Her hair was a mess. She looked at me and said, "Your father left us for another woman. He's not coming back." Then she went to the kitchen and started making coffee like it was a normal day. Like our entire world hadn't just collapsed. That's when I became the parent. My mother fell apart after my father left. I don't mean she had a breakdown and recovered. I mean she fundamentally gave up on being a mother. She went to work because she had to pay bills, but when she came home, she'd go straight to her room. Sometimes she'd drink, sometimes she'd just sleep. She stopped cooking, stopped cleaning, stopped caring, so I took over. At 12 years old, I became responsible for everything. I cooked dinner every night, mac and cheese, spaghetti, whatever was cheap and easy. I made sure Marcus and Lauren did their homework. I signed their permission slips. I went to parent-teacher conferences when my mother refused. Marcus was 10 and struggling. He'd been close to our father, and the abandonment hit him hard. He started acting out at school, getting in fights, failing classes. The school would call, and I'd be the one who dealt with it because my mother wouldn't. I'd sit with him at night trying to help with homework, trying to be the stable presence he needed. I was 12, trying to parent a 10-year-old boy who was angrier than I knew how to handle. Lauren was 8. She cried constantly. She wanted our mother, but our mother wasn't emotionally available. So Lauren clung to me. She'd crawl into my bed every night sobbing, asking when Daddy was coming back. I'd hold her and lie. Soon, I'd say. He'll be back soon. We both knew it wasn't true, but the lie made her feel better. I stopped having friends. How could I? I couldn't hang out after school because I had to get home to watch my siblings. I couldn't join clubs or sports because I had responsibilities. The few friends I did have slowly drifted away. They were doing normal kid things, and I was raising 2 children. By the time I was 14, I'd completely lost my childhood. I didn't go to dances, didn't date, didn't do anything teenagers were supposed to do. I woke up, got Marcus and Lauren ready for school, went to my own classes, came home, cooked dinner, helped with homework, put them to bed, cleaned the house, and collapsed into sleep. Every single day. My mother noticed, but she didn't care. Or maybe she did care, but was too deep in her own pain to do anything about it. Once, when I was 15, I asked her if she could maybe help more. Maybe cook dinner sometimes. She looked at me with empty eyes and said, "I'm doing the best I can, Claire. You're stronger than me. You always have been." That became her excuse for everything. I was stronger. I could handle it. I was capable. So she let me handle everything. High school was a blur. I went to class, came straight home, took care of my siblings. That was it. My guidance counselor called me in during junior year. She was concerned about my grades, which had dropped from A's to B's and C's. She asked if everything was okay at home. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her that I was drowning, that I couldn't keep up with my own homework because I was too busy helping my brother with his math and my sister with her reading, that I hadn't slept a full night in years, that I was 17 years old and I felt 40. Instead, I smiled and said, "Everything's fine. I'm just tired." She didn't push. Nobody ever pushed. Senior year, my friends were applying to colleges. I watched them fill out applications, write essays, visit campuses. I dreamed of going to college. I wanted to study literature. I loved reading, loved writing. In another life, maybe I could have been a teacher or a writer or something that involved books and words and thinking about things beyond what was for dinner. But I didn't apply to college. Because how could I? Marcus was 15 and still struggling. Lauren was 13 and needed me. My mother was barely functioning. If I left, who would take care of them? I mentioned college once to my mother, just once. I said, "Mom, there's a state school about 40 minutes away. I could commute, still help at home, but maybe take some classes." She looked at me like I'd suggested abandoning them all. "Claire, I can't do this alone. Your brother and sister need you. I need you. After everything your father did to us, you want to leave too?" The guilt hit like a physical blow. She was right, wasn't she? My father had abandoned us. Leaving would make me just like him. So I stayed. I got a job at a local diner the day after graduation, waitressing. The pay was terrible, but it was something. I gave most of my paychecks to my mother for bills, kept barely enough for myself. I worked 6 days a week, 8-hour shifts, came home exhausted. Marcus graduated high school when I was 20. He'd gotten into a decent state school on a partial sports scholarship. He was going to play baseball. I was so proud of him. I'd helped him practice, attended every game our mother couldn't be bothered to show up for. I'd been there. The day before he left for college, he hugged me and said, "Thanks for everything, Claire. I know you did a lot for us." I thought that meant he understood. I thought he appreciated the sacrifices. Looking back, I realized it was just something people say. Empty words. Lauren graduated when I was 24. She'd gotten accepted to a college 3 states away. Full scholarship. She was smart, talented, going places. I'd helped her with every college application, proofread every essay. I was thrilled for her. But I was also terrified. With both of them gone, What was I supposed to do? My mother still needed help. She'd never recovered from my father leaving. She'd gained weight, developed health problems, couldn't manage basic life tasks. She relied on me for everything: grocery shopping, doctor appointments, paying bills, cleaning her house. I did it all. I was 24 years old, and my entire life was taking care of a woman who'd given up on herself. I tried dating once. His name was David. I met him at the diner. He was kind, funny, asked me out for coffee. We went on 3 dates. On the 4th date, I had to cancel because my mother had a medical emergency. On the 5th date, I had to leave early because Marcus called with a crisis. By the 6th time I rescheduled, David stopped calling. I didn't blame him. Who wants to date someone whose entire life revolves around their family? I stayed at the diner for 10 years. 10 years of serving coffee and burgers, smiling at customers, pretending I was fine. The tips were decent. I kept giving most of my money to my mother. She'd say she needed it for bills, for medical expenses, for this or that emergency. I never questioned it. She was my mother. I had to help. My 30th birthday came and went without celebration. Marcus called, said, "Happy birthday, sis," and that was it. Lauren sent a card. My mother forgot entirely. I looked at myself in the mirror that night and didn't recognize the person staring back. I was 30 years old, no education beyond high school, no career, no partner, no children of my own, no dreams left. Just an endless cycle of working and taking care of people who barely acknowledged I existed. But I kept going, because that's what I did. I was Claire, the responsible one, the strong one, the one who handled everything. When I was 32, my mother had a heart attack. I found her collapsed in her kitchen. I called 911, rode with her in the ambulance, stayed by her side in the hospital. Marcus and Lauren both came home for a few days, but they had their own lives, jobs, partners. They couldn't stay long, so once again, it was just me. My mother survived, but she needed constant care after that. I had to quit my job at the diner to take care of her full-time. The doctor said she could have recovered better with physical therapy and effort, but she didn't try. She just gave up, stayed in bed, let me do everything. I became her nurse, fed her, bathed her, changed her, gave her medications. It was exhausting and degrading, and I resented every second of it. But I couldn't stop. She was my mother. This was my duty. Marcus and Lauren visited occasionally. Holidays, birthdays, quick weekend trips. They'd stay for a day or two, tell me what a great job I was doing, then leave. Back to their real lives, their careers, their families. Marcus got married when I was 35. Beautiful wedding. 3 states away. I couldn't go because I couldn't leave our mother alone. He understood, he said, but I could hear the disappointment in his voice. Lauren got engaged when I was 37. She wanted me to be her maid of honor. I was touched. But when I told her I'd need help arranging care for our mother during the wedding, she got annoyed. "Claire, can't you figure something out? This is my wedding. I need you there." I figured it out. I paid for a home health aide for 3 days. It cost me everything I'd saved. But I went to Lauren's wedding. I stood up as her maid of honor. Smiled in all the photos. Then came straight home. The years blended together. I was 38, 39, 40. My entire life was my mother's bedroom. Making meals, giving pills, watching daytime television with a woman who barely spoke to me. Sometimes I'd fantasize about leaving, just walking out the door and never coming back, starting over somewhere, being someone new. But I couldn't. I was trapped by duty, by guilt, by the belief that this was what good daughters did. When I was 42, my mother's health deteriorated further. The doctor said she needed more advanced care. We should consider a nursing facility. I mentioned it to her once. She looked at me with such hurt and said, "You want to put me in a home after everything I've done for you?" Everything she'd done for me? She'd given birth to me, sure. But what else? She'd checked out when I was 12, made me raise my siblings, made me sacrifice my entire life. But I couldn't say that. So I said, "No, Mom, I'll take care of you." And I did. For 3 more years. Marcus and Lauren called regularly. They'd ask how Mom was doing. I'd give updates. They'd say, "You're doing such a great job, Claire. We're so grateful. We don't know what we'd do without you." But they never offered to help. Never offered to come stay for a week so I could rest. Never offered money for her care. Just gratitude from a distance. I turned 45 in silence. My mother was asleep. I sat in the kitchen with a store-bought cupcake and a single candle. I didn't even bother making a wish. What was the point? Last year, my mother's health crashed. She developed pneumonia, spent 2 weeks in the hospital. The doctors did everything they could, but she was 83 and her body was giving up. Marcus and Lauren both came. We sat in her hospital room watching her breathe through a ventilator. The doctor pulled us aside. "She's not going to recover. You need to decide about life support." We all looked at each other. Finally, Marcus said, "Claire, you've been taking care of her. What do you think?" What did I think? I thought I was exhausted. I thought I wanted this to be over. I thought I'd given 33 years of my life to this woman, and I wanted it to end. But I couldn't say that. So I said, "We should let her go peacefully." They agreed. We removed life support. She died 3 hours later. I was holding her hand. The funeral was exactly what I expected. Lots of people saying nice things about a woman they barely knew. My mother had been isolated for decades. These were distant relatives, old coworkers, people paying respects out of obligation. Marcus gave a eulogy. He talked about what a strong woman she was, how she'd raised 3 children alone after my father left. I sat there listening to him rewrite history. She hadn't raised us alone. I had raised them. Me. But nobody mentioned that. After the funeral, we went back to my mother's house, our childhood home. It felt strange to be there with her gone, empty in a way I couldn't explain. We were sitting in the living room. Marcus, Lauren, Lauren's husband, Marcus's wife, and me. Everyone was tired, ready to go back to their real lives. That's when Lauren pulled out an envelope. "Claire," she said, "Mom wanted you to have this. She gave it to me years ago, made me promise to give it to you after she died." I took the envelope. My hands were shaking, though I didn't know why. It was thick, heavy. "What is it?" "Just read it," Lauren said. Something in her voice was off. Guilty, maybe, or nervous. I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter in my mother's handwriting. Several pages. I started reading. "My dearest Claire, if you're reading this, I'm gone. There are things you need to know. Things I should have told you years ago, but never found the courage. When your father left, it wasn't because he didn't love you. He left because he loved you too much to watch what was happening. Claire, you were never supposed to raise your brother and sister. That was my job. I was their mother. But after your father left, I fell apart. I was depressed, broken, unable to function. Instead of getting help, instead of being strong for my children, I let you take over. A 12-year-old child. I let you sacrifice your childhood because it was easier than facing my own pain. Your father begged me to get therapy, to let him help even after he left. But I was too angry, too hurt, too proud. I pushed him away completely. He sent money for years, money that was supposed to help support all of you. I never told you that. I kept it for myself, spent it on things I wanted, on my own comfort. While you worked multiple jobs and gave me your paychecks, his support money sat in an account I never touched for you kids. I watched you give up college, watched you stop having friends, watched you become an adult before you'd finished being a child. I knew it was wrong, but I told myself you were strong, that you could handle it, that you were naturally responsible. The truth is, I was a coward. I let my 12-year-old daughter raise my other children because I didn't want to. It was easier, less painful. And with every year that passed, it became harder to change. The pattern was set. You were the caretaker. I was the victim. Marcus and Lauren were the ones who got to be kids. By the time you were an adult, I couldn't admit what I'd done. How could I? How could I look at you and say, I stole your life because I was too weak to live mine? So I kept letting you sacrifice, kept taking your money, your time, your care, kept telling myself you were strong enough to handle it. I want you to know that Marcus and Lauren are aware of all of this. I told them 5 years ago. I made them promise not to tell you while I was alive because I couldn't face your anger, your hurt. I was too selfish even at the end. There's more you need to know. Your father never abandoned you. I kept him away. He tried for years to see you, to be part of your life. I told him no. I was so angry at him for leaving me that I punished him by taking away his children, taking away you. He wrote you letters, hundreds of them, birthday cards, Christmas cards. I never gave them to you. They're in a box in my closet. Lauren has them now. He died 4 years ago. Heart attack. He never got to reconnect with you because I made sure of that. That's on me. That guilt is mine to carry even in death. Claire, you deserved so much better than the life I forced you into. You deserved a childhood. You deserved college. You deserved love, marriage, children of your own. You deserved to be selfish and young and free. Instead, you got a mother who used you, who took everything you had to give and never gave anything back. I'm sorry. I know those words mean nothing. I know they can't give you back the 33 years you lost. But I'm sorry. The house is yours. I've left it to you in my will. It's not enough. It could never be enough. But it's something. I also want you to know that there's money. The money your father sent all those years. It's been sitting in an account, growing with interest. It's substantial. Over $400,000. I never touched it. I think part of me always knew it belonged to you. That money is yours now. All of it. Please try to forgive me, though I know I don't deserve it. Try to forgive your siblings, who knew and said nothing because they were too afraid of disrupting their own lives. Live, Claire. For the first time in your life, live for yourself. With more regret than you can know, Mom. I read the letter 3 times. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the pages. When I finally looked up, everyone was staring at me. You knew, I said to Marcus and Lauren. My voice didn't sound like my own. It was cold, flat. You knew for 5 years that she stole my life, that Dad never abandoned us, that everything was a lie, and you said nothing. Lauren's eyes filled with tears. Claire, we wanted to tell you, but Mom made us promise. You're adults, I interrupted. You could have told me anyway. But you didn't, because it was easier not to. Because as long as I was taking care of Mom, you didn't have to. Marcus stood up. That's not fair, Claire. We didn't know how bad it was for you. We thought you wanted to help. I was 12, I said. I was crying now, but I didn't care. I was 12 years old. How could I have wanted that? I was a child and you were 10. You saw everything. You knew I had no choice. You knew Mom checked out. You knew I was raising you. And when you grew up, when you could have helped, you didn't. You left me to do it all alone. Claire, Lauren reached for me. I pulled away. Did you know about the money? Dad's money? They looked at each other, guilty. We knew, Marcus admitted. Mom told us, but she said it was complicated, that she'd explain it to you eventually. $400,000, I said. That could have paid for college, could have paid for help, could have changed everything, but she kept it. And you knew. We're sorry, Lauren whispered. Sorry? I stood up. Sorry doesn't give me back 33 years. Sorry doesn't give me the life I was supposed to have. Sorry doesn't bring back Dad, who I thought abandoned me but was actually kept away by a selfish, manipulative woman you all protected. She was our mother, Marcus said. What were we supposed to do? Tell the truth, I said. At any point in the last 5 years, you could have told me the truth. But you didn't. Because it was more convenient for you if I kept believing the lie. If I kept sacrificing while you lived your lives. I looked at both of them, my brother and sister, the children I'd raised, the people I'd given up everything for. Get out, I said. Claire, please. Get out of my house, all of you, now. They left. I heard their cars drive away. Then I was alone in the house I'd grown up in. The house I'd never really left. The house that was now mine, apparently. Along with $400,000 I should have had decades ago. I went to my mother's closet, found the box she'd mentioned. Inside were hundreds of letters, all addressed to me, all from my father. I sat on the floor and read them. Dear Claire, I miss you so much. I hope you're doing well in school. I think about you every day. Dear Claire, happy 16th birthday. I wish I could be there. I tried calling, but your mother won't let me speak to you. Please know I love you. Dear Claire, I heard you didn't go to college. I want to help. I've been sending money. Please use it for school. You deserve an education. On and on. Years of letters, birthdays, holidays, random Tuesdays, all expressing love, concern, desperate attempts to connect. All hidden from me by a woman who claimed to love me but loved herself more. I cried until I couldn't breathe. Cried for the father I thought abandoned me, but actually fought to stay in my life. Cried for the mother who betrayed me in the worst possible way. Cried for the childhood, the teenage years, the 20s, the 30s I'd lost and could never get back. When I finally stopped crying, it was dark outside. I was 45 years old, alone, grieving not just my mother's death, but the death of the illusion I'd lived in for 33 years. But I also felt something else, something I hadn't felt in decades. Freedom. That was 3 months ago. Since then, I've made some decisions. I sold my mother's house. I couldn't live there anymore. Too many memories, too much pain. The sale, combined with the money my father had sent, gave me nearly $600,000. I cut off contact with Marcus and Lauren. They've tried calling, texting, emailing. I don't respond. Maybe someday I'll be ready to hear what they have to say. But not now. Not yet. I moved to Seattle. City I'd always wanted to visit but never could. I rented a small apartment overlooking the water. It's mine. Just mine. Nobody to take care of. Nobody depending on me. I enrolled in community college. At 45, I'm finally getting the education I should have had at 18. I'm studying literature, reading books, writing papers, learning. It feels like coming back to life. I joined a support group for people who've experienced parental narcissism and family trauma. Hearing other people's stories has helped me understand I'm not alone, that what happened to me wasn't my fault, that I was a child put in an impossible situation, and I did the best I could. I started therapy, twice a week. It's hard, painful, but necessary. I'm working through 33 years of suppressed anger, resentment, and grief. Some days I feel like I'm making progress. Other days I feel like I'm drowning. But I keep going. I went on a date last week. His name is Robert. He's a teacher. Kind eyes, gentle voice. We had coffee, talked for 2 hours. He asked if I wanted to see him again. I said yes. I don't know where this is going. I don't know if I'm capable of a relationship after everything. But I'm trying. That's all I can do. I think about my mother sometimes. I wonder if she really felt guilty or if that letter was just one last manipulation, a way to control the narrative even after death. I'll never know. I think about my father more. I wish I'd known the truth while he was alive. Wish I'd had the chance to know him as an adult, to hear his side of the story, to thank him for trying, even when my mother made it impossible. The grief comes in waves. Some days I'm okay, functioning, even happy. Other days I'm consumed by rage at the years stolen from me, the life I should have had, the person I could have been. But I'm also discovering who I am now. Not the caretaker, not the responsible one, not the strong daughter, just Claire. Whoever that is. I don't know what my future looks like. For the first time in my life, I don't have responsibilities dictating every choice. I could do anything, go anywhere, be anyone. It's terrifying and thrilling. I'm 45 years old, and I feel like I'm finally being born. Like the first 45 years were just a long, painful gestation, and now I'm emerging into the person I was always meant to be. Last week, I did something I never thought I'd do. I wrote a letter to Marcus and Lauren, not to send, just for myself. I needed to put into words everything I felt. I told them that I loved them, that raising them wasn't their fault, but that their silence, their complicity in the lie, that was their choice. And I wasn't ready to forgive it. I told them that maybe someday we could rebuild a relationship. But it would have to be different, equal, honest. Not me sacrificing for them, but all of us showing up for each other. I told them I hoped they'd learn from this, that they'd be better parents than our mother was, that they'd never put their children in the position I was put in. Then I burned the letter, watched it turn to ash. Let go of the need for them to understand or apologize or change. I can't control them. I can only control myself. Yesterday, I was walking along the Seattle waterfront. The sun was setting. The sky was pink and gold. I stopped and looked out at the water, and I thought about my father. I said out loud, "I wish I'd known you, Dad. I wish you'd been there. But thank you for trying. Thank you for the money. Thank you for never giving up, even when Mom made it impossible. I hope wherever you are, you know I finally learned the truth. And I forgive you for leaving Mom. You deserved to be happy." A woman walking past looked at me strangely. Probably thought I was talking to myself. I guess I was. But it felt necessary. Cathartic. I'm not healed. I don't know if I ever will be completely. The wounds are too deep. The loss is too great. But I'm healing. Slowly. day by day. I'm learning to be selfish, to put myself first, to say no without guilt, to pursue my own dreams, not someone else's needs. I'm learning that love shouldn't cost everything, that real family shows up, that sacrifice is only noble if it's chosen freely, not forced on a child. I'm learning that anger is okay, that grief is okay, that I don't have to forgive anyone, especially not on their timeline. I'm learning who Claire is when she's not trying to be everything to everyone. And you know what? I think I like her. This morning, I woke up in my Seattle apartment, made coffee, sat by the window watching the boats, read a chapter of a novel for my class, did homework, met a classmate for lunch, came home, did more homework. It was a completely ordinary day, nothing special, nothing dramatic. And it was the most extraordinary day of my life, because it was mine, just mine. Nobody needed me. Nobody depended on me. Nobody took from me. For the first time in 33 years, I lived a day for myself. I don't know what happens next. I don't know if I'll reconcile with Marcus and Lauren. Don't know if things will work out with Robert. Don't know if I'll finish college or what I'll do after. But that's okay. The not knowing is part of the freedom. I spent 33 years with my entire life planned out by other people's needs. Now I get to figure out what I want, what I need, who I am. It's going to take time. Lots of therapy, lots of crying, lots of angry days and sad days and confused days. But I have time now, all the time in the world, because I'm not spending it taking care of people who never took care of me. If you're reading this, if you're living my story right now, if you're the oldest daughter carrying everyone else's weight, please hear me. It's not your job to fix your family. It's not your responsibility to sacrifice yourself so everyone else can thrive. It's not noble to destroy yourself for people who won't do the same for you. You deserve your own life, your own dreams, your own happiness. And it's never too late to start claiming it. I'm 45 and I'm just beginning. If I can do it, you can too. Take back your life. Live for yourself. Let go of the guilt they've weaponized against you. You are not responsible for saving everyone. You're only responsible for saving yourself. I wish someone had told me that when I was 12. But I'm telling you now. Save yourself while you still can. Because you deserve more than a life spent being everyone's solution to their problems. You deserve to be the main character in your own story, not a supporting role in everyone else's. I'm Claire. I'm 45 years old, and for the first time in my life, I'm choosing me.